success or failure of that can have huge implications on the downstream success of your organization. So if you've got some tips maybe for how to go about that first effort, please share those.
So implementation is a challenge. You tend to get very excited about getting the sale, getting the pilot, and you spend a lot of energy on that, and you get the deal done, and you get the high five, and you go out for beers. And then implementation is not nearly as much fun, but very important. And it's very difficult for a startup because you have scarce resources in terms of time. Ideally, you would sort of be on the ground in the hospital trying to figure out what the workflow is, and because that's really your challenge is, for a product like mine at least, is in the clinical setting, in the ambulatory setting, where does it fit in? Who in that clinic is going to get a patient signed up? How is that going to happen? Who's going to take ownership of it? And that's not an easy process to understand because every system is different. So it's a challenge, and you have to make time, and you have to be responsive and just have your ears open. And the most important thing, and you'll be surprised, just by being nice and polite and flexible, these hospitals will cut you a lot of slack. If they understand that you're a startup, as long as you represent yourself as that, you're nice and pleasant to them, they'll cut you a lot of slack and they'll help you. Really all I can say is make sure that you donate as much time to implementation as you do to getting the sale. Always be there, be available, and just be pleasant and keep your ears open. And if you can, put all hands on deck in terms of being around and trying to make that process as seamless as possible and help the hospital system figure out where it might best interact in their workflows. Because the last thing you want to do is disrupt workflows, because that's the killer.
I think it also really helps to have at least one person on the hospital side who can be really responsive to and donate some of their time to the implementation. And that is not necessarily any of the people that you've interacted with up to that point. So it can be really important sometimes to get someone higher up to tell someone who works for them that, yes, you're going to be the point person for the implementation of this product, and you should be responsive to the company and help them out with whatever they need. That can be really important.
Paul, observations from the customer side. What have entrepreneurs done particularly well that you said, wow, this really made for a fantastic working relationship? And then maybe some potential absolutely avoid these kind of behavior observations.
They managed our expectations. They made it very clear what our role is in the success of this, and they made it very clear what their role in the success of that product is. If we're picking up a product, we want it to succeed just as much as you do. Trust us. But we want to be told how much skin we need to put in the game to make that work. So as long as you're honest with us and up front, pick up a product and you're like, here it is, don't worry, it's going to be great, we'll do everything, and then you can't do everything, we'll give you time. We do have short memories, you don't succeed at everything, obviously. So the point being, just manage our expectations, keep an honest dialogue. We're very used to not batting 1,000, but we know how to raise that average. We want to raise it with you. Just be aware, be honest, and be transparent. We'll be very productive. We'll be very helpful to your partner.
So just follow up on what Paul said, because that's very important. When we sign up for these pilots, we have a pilot agreement, and we also have a sheet where we put down what our responsibility is, what the hospital's responsibility is, and what the outcomes are, and when we're going to measure those outcomes. Because you need to have something to measure, and you got to decide on that ahead of time. What's important to the hospital system? How are you going to impact it? And when are you going to measure that? So responsibilities on both sides, and then your goals, and the goals need to be tangible.